The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, address by Swami Vivekananda at Calcutta, Part 3. The highest ideal in our scriptures is the impersonal, and would to God every one of us here were the high enough to realize the impersonal ideal. But as that cannot be, it is absolutely necessary for the vast majority of human beings to have a personal ideal. And no nation can rise, can become great, can work at all without enthusiastically coming under the banner of one of the greatest ideals in life. Political ideals, personages representing political ideals, even social ideals, commercial ideals, would have no power in India. We want spiritual ideals before us. We want enthusiastically to gather round grand spiritual names. Our heroes must be spiritual. Such a hero has been given to us in the name of Ramakrishna Paramhans. If this nation wants to rise, take my word for it, it will have to rally enthusiastically round this name. It does not matter who preaches Ramakrishna Paramhans, whether I or you or anybody else. But I place before you, and it is for you to judge, and for the good of our race, for the good of our nation, to judge now what you should do with this great ideal of life. One thing we are to remember, that it was the purest of all lives that you have ever seen, or let me tell you distinctly, that you have ever heard of. And before you is the fact that it is the most marvelous manifestation of soul power that you can read of, much less expect to see. Within 10 years of his passing away, this power has encircled the globe. That fact is before you. In duty bound, therefore, for the good of our race, for the good of our religion, I place this great spiritual ideal before you. Judge him not through me. I am only a weak instrument. Let not his character be judged by seeing me. It was so great that he, if I or any other of his disciples spent hundreds of lives, we could not do justice to a millionth part of what he really was. Judge for yourselves. In the heart of your hearts is the eternal witness, or may he, the same Ramakrishna Paramhans, for the good of our nation, for the welfare of our country, and for the good of humanity, open your hearts, make your true and steady to work for the immense change which must come, whether we exert ourselves or not. For the work of Lord does not wait for the like of you or me. He can raise his workers from the dust by hundreds and by thousands. It is a glory and a privilege that we are allowed to work at all under him. From this, the idea expands. As you have pointed out to me, we have to conquer the world. That we have to. India must conquer the world, and nothing less than that is my ideal. It may be very big. It may astonish many of you, but it is so. We must conquer the world or die. There is no other alternative. The sign of life is expansion. We must go out, expand, show life, or degrade, fester and die. There is no other alternative. Take either of these, either live or die. Now we all know about petty jealousies and quarrels that we have in our country. Take my word for it, it is the same everywhere. The other nations with their political lives have foreign policies. When they find too much quarreling at home, they look for somebody abroad to quarrel with. And the quarrel at home stops. We have these quarrels without any foreign policy to stop them. This must be our eternal foreign policy, preaching the truth of our Shastras to the nations of the world. I ask you who are politically minded, do you require any other proof that this will unite us as a race? This very assembly is a sufficient witness. Secondly, apart from these selfish considerations, there are the unselfish, the noble, the living examples behind us. One of the great causes of India's misery and downfall has been that she narrowed herself, went into her shell as the oyster does, and refused to give her jewels and other treasures to the other races of mankind, refused to give the life-giving truths to thirsting nations outside the Aryan fold. That has been the one great cause that we did not go out, that we did not compare notes with other nations. That has been the one great cause of our downfall. And every one of you knows that that little stir, that little life that you see in India begins from the day when Raja Ram Mohan Roy broke through the walls of that exclusiveness. Since that day, history in India has taken another turn, and now it is growing with accelerated motion. If we have had little rivulets in the past, deluges are coming, and none can resist them. Therefore, we must go out, and the secret of life is to give and take. Are we to take always? To sit at the feet of the Westerners, to learn everything, even religion? We can learn mechanism from them. We can learn many other things. But we have to teach them something. And that is our religion. That is our spirituality. For a complete civilization, the world is waiting for the treasures to come out of India, waiting for the marvelous spiritual inheritance of the race which, through decades of degeneration, through decades of degradation and misery, the nation has still clutched to her breast. The world is waiting for that treasure. Little do you know how much of hunger and thirst there is outside of India for these wonderful treasures of our forefathers. We talk here, we quarrel with each other, we laugh at and we ridicule everything sacred, till it has become almost a national vice to ridicule everything holy. Little do we understand the heart pangs of the millions of waiting outside the walls, stretching forth their hands for a little sip of that nectar which our forefathers have preserved in this land of India. Therefore, we must go out, exchange our spirituality for anything that we have to give us, for the marvels of the religion of spirit. We will exchange the marvels of the region of matter. We will not be students always, but teachers also. There cannot be friendship without equality, and there cannot be equality without one party is always the teacher, and the other party sits always at his feet. If you want to become equal with the Englishman or the American, you will have to teach as well as to learn. And you have to plenty yet to teach to the world for centuries to come. This has to be done. Fire and enthusiasm must be in our blood. We Bengalis have been credited with imagination, and I believe we have it. We have been ridiculed as an imaginative race, as men with a good deal of feeling. Let me tell you, my friends, intellect is great indeed, but it stops within certain bounds. It is through the heart, and the heart alone, that inspiration comes. It is through the feelings that the highest secrets are reached. And therefore, it is the Bengali, the man of feeling, that has to do this work. Arise, awake, and stop not till the desired end is reached. Young men of Calcutta, arise, awake, for the time is propitious. Already everything is opening out before us. Be bold and fear not. It is only in our scriptures that this adjective is given unto the Lord, Abhi, Abhi. We have to become Abhi, fearless, and our task will be done. Arise, awake, for your country needs this tremendous sacrifice. It is the young man that will do it. The young, the energetic, the strong, the well built, the intellectual. For them is the task. And we have hundreds and thousands of such young men in Calcutta. If, as you say, I have done something, remember that I was the good for nothing boy playing in the streets of Calcutta. If I have done so much, how much more you will do? Arise and awake. The world is calling upon you. In other parts of India, there is intellect, there is money, but enthusiasm is only in my motherland. That must come out. Therefore, arise, young men of Calcutta, with enthusiasm in your blood. This not that you are poor, that you have no friends. Whoever saw a monkey make the man. It is the man who always makes money. Whoever saw money make the man. It is always that man makes money. The whole world has been made by the energy of man, by the power of enthusiasm, and by the power of faith.